So first of all today, ladies and gentlemen, for the news roundup video, we have some exciting updates for Superman Legacy and its development moving along. Then we have the Flash movie recently having had another test screening, but some details could have leaked, so I want to dive into that. We then have some interesting developments in the Jonathan Majors case. We also have talks of Matt Reeves supposedly finishing the script for the Batman Part 2, and that he's even maybe considering who to add to the cast right now. So of course, I need to get into that one. Quite a few stories to talk about today. I would love to know your thoughts on each and every single one of them. As always, down in the comments below, I read every single comment, so definitely leave one because each story is pretty interesting, and I've got quite a few questions to pose to you guys. So also like the video if you do go on to enjoy it. It really does help the video out. I know every single YouTuber asks you to do this, but honestly, that engagement counts for a lot in the algorithm, as well as the comment section. So thank you for supporting the channel if you have gone on to do that. First up is a few updates with regards to James Gunn. He says, "I'm honored to be a part of the legacy, and what better day than Superman Anniversary Day to dive fully into early pre-production on Superman Legacy. Costumes, production design, and more now up and running." And he posts a picture of the script, Superman Legacy, written by James Gunn. Now, we knew that his script, even when he first announced it, was quite a ways through because he was hired to write it well into, I think, the middle of last year. And here we have the whole script completed. And we've been hearing lots of rumors from scoopers about this movie. Oh, James Gunn's going for this person. Oh, apparently they've already cast Superman, but James Gunn kept shutting it down. But the interesting thing about this is we've got a couple of updates than just, James Gunn saying, early pre-production is rolling and stuff like that. We have Deadline reporting that Superman Legacy is looking to shoot early next year, maybe even as early as January. So Deadline just goes over a few of the details that we've more or less already discussed. But we have from Heroic Hollywood here, and this stuff is more, not confirmed right now, but they say on top of January 2024 is when it's expected to begin like proper production. This is just really echoing what Deadline said, but they're saying that in January 2024, when it enters shooting, the shooting will take place in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, we've got a couple more updates from Gunn himself, which I'm about to get into, but if the Atlanta, Georgia thing is true, and I do want to stress this could be completely false, knowing James Gunn, somebody might tweet him saying, is it true that you've scouted Atlanta, Georgia, the city for Superman's metropolis? And he might be like, no. But, just going to Google Images, taking a look at the city myself, it does look like a very metropolis-esque location, because don't forget as well, what they will do is CGI a bunch of buildings in, like LexCorp, the Daily Planet, but just from the typical stock-esque images from Atlanta, Georgia, it does look like you can imagine Superman flying over that skyline. So I'd love to know what you think of that, because I'm sure lots of people have many cities in mind for Metropolis, and whatever city they would choose, they would still make it look like this golden city. It's a very opposite look to that of the moody Gotham, and I do feel like this naturally brings that out. I mean, a lot of people have spoken about Toronto because, for example, with Titans, we've gone to Metropolis in season 4. The showrunner Greg Walker spoke about how Metropolis was actually based on Toronto in the very, very early days, but maybe Toronto is just way too overused. Let me know what you think of the location, but James Gunn has also said to a fan on Twitter asking, anyone stand out to you in casting for Supes? No need to mention names. Love you, James. And he says, and this is just really cool, yes, we have some incredible choices. I'm incredibly excited and relieved. I'm guessing he's saying relieved because behind the scenes, as he said in that first tweet, things are really, really starting to roll now. This is where you would most certainly be getting into casting. It's already happening. People are already sending things in. And the fact that he's incredibly excited, more specifically saying relieved, is because obviously when you have the pressure of not only making a whole new bloody DC universe, but a new iteration of Superman that, for better or for worse, or to as much fans' dismay, you got rid of the old Superman casting whilst keeping some people on. That's a big pressure. So when you've got actors applying for the role and you start seeing their tapes or whatever, you must be pretty anxious that, man, you could go through 1,000 of these. I don't know if you guys heard about the Sandman casting for Morpheus when they chose Tom Sturridge. They went through so many people, and that's just a random example. Obviously, that's not unique to when finding your starring role for any project out there in Hollywood, but Superman you want to hit the nail on the head. So I'm guessing that he's looked through a few of these incredible choices. As fan asked, has anyone stood out to you? And he's looked at some incredible choices, and he's really excited, really relieved, because some of them must have really impressed him. And he must be looking at a few of them in particular being like, oh, like this might be my guy. I'm not saying it is right now. Still got plenty of people to look through, but not only is this maybe my guy, but there's this person, and this person. So that must be really relieving that you're getting a good flock of actors coming in. Probably some more known than others. I know a lot of people also want a lesser known actor, and I'm sure he's combing through some of them as well. This user on Twitter said, "How are you doing press tour stuff and pre-production on Superman Legacy? Teach me your weights," because don't forget, he's doing a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 press tour at the minute. And he says, "I left Legacy in the capable hands of our production designer, costume designer, casting directors, and executive producers to be taken care of while I go on the promotional tour. I'll start to see designs when I come back, and I see auditions online from here." So it's kind of weird to kind of imagine like James Gunn. Well, it's not weird. It's kind of cool. Whilst he's on the press tour, I wonder if there's an interviewer out there just kind of being like, "Oh, I need to see what's on his tablet," because he could very well be looking on his tablet at an audition for who could very well be the next Superman. So that's pretty cool. He's looking at auditions while he's doing the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 press tour, and even hearing the mention of designs when he actually physically goes back, he's going to be making those seal of approval decisions on design, like actual Superman suit design, or like how should the fortress look. I mean, I assume we're going to get the Fortress of Solitude. And last update on this is just that a fan asked, will Jimmy Olsen be in the movie? Tagging a little picture of Jimmy Olsen there, and he says, of course. So finally, we're getting Jimmy in the movie, and I don't think this speaks to like so much, but the vibes I'm getting is that amongst this being an early Superman, not too experienced, but not like mega young, I still don't think it's going to be a 22-year-old actor. I'm still thinking 27, 28 to 32-ish, 33-ish max, somewhere around there. Could be a little bit early. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong. Could be like 26 to 32. He says he's not excluding really either age ranges, but I think that's where it will land roughly. But the larger commentary here being that we're going to get a Superman in his early years. He's been active. He's been fighting crime. Hasn't necessarily taken on any big threats like Bizarro, Doomsday, whoever, right? Brainiac, or anything like that. But there's also other characters out there. Like, I do wonder, is Lois Lane his girlfriend, or is he still getting to know her? Has he been working for her for a couple of years, or with her, but they're not in a relationship yet? He could already be good friends with Jimmy. I think James Gunn's iteration is going to be very a day in the life of the adventures of Superman. Not when he's got a family with Jonathan Kent, like the Superman and Lois show, where they've got twin boys, but early on, but not too late, but kind of, hey, I'm a reporter working at Daily Planet, got Jimmy, my boy, over here, got Lois over there. We don't know where we're at right now, or maybe they do, but it's like a prospering, hitting the ground running. This is one thing I keep repeating with this DCU. Superheroes have existed and do exist, and we're already entering a world living and breathing. I'm looking forward to this, and obviously I'll keep you posted on any new updates, but let me know what you thought of what we've discussed with this first story. All right, so story number 2 is the Flash movie. So as you guys know, in just 4 days from now, 4 days, 25th, is CinemaCon. And Warner Brothers, as many of you know, have a lot of confidence in the Flash movie. As I always say, Ezra Miller drama aside, whatever freaking, opinion you have, this movie, they have a lot of confidence in. So they're literally showing it to a lot of people there who are turning up. And man, I really think leaks are going to get out. Speaking of leaks, that's what we're about to get into in a second. But there's also been another test screening recently. And the Flash Film News, a very good source for all things Flash. They say, according to our sources, last night's screening of The Flash was greeted with great applause and praise. It appears the audience truly appreciated this highly anticipated blockbuster, and that's awesome, right? But the thing is, surrounding this is that there's been a couple of leaks. Now, I'm not going to mention like the specific ending leak, but what some people are saying here, and this is what the Flash Film News retweeted from Casey Walsh, and he said, someone out there appears to be spreading incorrect info, causing people to freak out that information is wrong. And that was quote tweeting the Home of DCU page, referencing these leaks, saying, oh, so we're out here leaking the Flash movie. He at least thought everything would hold off until CinemaCon, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, as soon as CinemaCon starts happening, even though they're not meant to say anything, with the amount of people that the CinemaCon theater can house, it will still get out, like, most definitely. But what I wanted to say before getting onto this direct article and what they have to say about a couple of related things is that apparently the leak that is going around, if you know it, with regards to the very, 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 very ending scene, apparently that isn't true, because a lot of people were memeing on it, and I can kind of see why, but apparently that is just incorrect according to other scoopers who have knowledge here. But you know, when you evaluate all of this is scoopers saying things against other scoopers, so which scooper is the real scooper? I don't know. But let's move on to this direct article. I wanted to reference what they say, and they say the Flash movie ending reportedly gets last-minute changes, rumors. So The Flash has apparently made some major changes to its ending ahead of James Gunn's new DCU reboot. Geeks Worldwide, Casey Walsh, that tweet we just read out a second ago, shared new details about the changes to The Flash's ending, which seem to come from one of the DC blockbuster's latest test screenings. Now, this isn't revealing that leak. That isn't true. This is just another piece of additional information going off of the test screening that we were just talking about. So according to Walsh, the movie is now complete, which ought to come as no surprise given it will see its premiere at CinemaCon in under a week's time, with the event running from April 24th to 27th. The insider added how the ending has been changed to be more vague, particularly noting how the cameo isn't what you think it is either. The cameo in question likely refers to rumors of George Clooney's Batman appearing. Now, with regards to that, I'm sure many of you remember, like, a few months back, everyone was talking like, oh my god, you know, does this mean Christian Bale is coming back? Is George Clooney coming back? Because Grace Randolph put out that rumor that at the end of the movie, Ezra's Barry Allen would be with a new Batman, and Grace was inferring that the new Batman could be the new Batman of the DCU, which just, you know, James Gunn isn't going to make the new DCU Batman, the Brave and the Bold, with Damian Wayne and the Bat family that old. I'm not saying George Clooney is ancient or anything like that, but 61? No. But the thing is that the cameo could still be true. It's just not what was being inferred as that Batman at the end of the movie is carrying on as the new DCU Batman. It could just still be a fun cameo in the movie towards the end anyway. But this continues with some other interesting things. So apparently that isn't the only cameo, as Walsh promised the Speed Force has cameos galore, including both a CW connection and a Dream cameo, which will be what everyone talks about. And I believe Casey Walsh even inferred that the CW cameo is going to be the one that everyone is thinking that it is, which is interesting because Grant Gustin was recently asked about any appearance similar to the Andrew Garfield situations with No Way Home, and he was like, I'm not keeping some elaborate secret. So he basically shot it down that he would have any kind of appearance in the Flash movie, similar to how we had Ezra Miller appear in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover and actually meet Grant Gustin's CW Flash. But now apparently in the Speed Force there is a CW connection. So either Grant doesn't know about it and they're just using stock footage, but you would have thought they would have got him in for a massive budget movie like that, even if it is just a Speed Force thing. And the Speed Force thing, this is perfectly believable because given that this is a multiversal movie and we know that there's going to be cameos in it, why wouldn't you include some kind of Flash, even if it is in the Speed Force mystifying blobbiness, if you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is true. Maybe Grant does know about it, especially if it isn't stock footage. Of course he would know about it because he would have filmed it. And it could be a similar situation to Andrew Garfield, where he's just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about this. I haven't heard anything about it. It's not like I'm keeping some elaborate secret. But he might be lying. But of course, we will understand why. But that's more or less everything there is right now surrounding this whole Flash movie thing. Just bear in mind, closing this topic off for today's video, that CinemaCon, just a few days away, the movie will be screening. Not only are we going to get, obviously, the reception from a lot of people talking about, okay, but is the Flash movie really everything that we're hearing about from the behind the scenes? Like, is it that amazing, like in terms of a genuinely good superhero movie, even better than good? But bear in mind, there's probably going to be lots of rumors and leaks going around. And I say rumors because obviously it's still coming from Bill down the road saying, I was actually at CinemaCon and this is exactly what happened, but being unable to prove it unless somebody's stupid enough to actually try and record with their phone at CinemaCon. But that would be taken down faster than the Flash running through the Speed Force. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. Are you looking forward to seeing the reactions from CinemaCon? Do you think it will match up to the behind-the-scenes hype we've been hearing about the movie? Let me know. Now, before we get into the Batman realm side of things, there's another topic which I haven't spoken about in a little while, and that is the Jonathan Majors case, because this has been cooking along in the background for a hot minute now. Obviously, at the end of last month, I believe, that's when everything came out. But the lawyer came out for Jonathan Majors saying that they have stuff that they've got, maybe even a video footage, and I believe this cab driver who can completely exonerate, or at least they expect all charges to be dropped when the DA gets a hold of it, right? But ever since then, it's been radio silence. Obviously, I don't think anyone expects things like that to be over just like that. Even when evidence is taken into account, it still takes a little while to cook along. But ever since then, since the radio silence, while the DA is doing their thing, I suppose, we've had more developments, such as Jonathan Majors' publicist, even his management, dropping him from their representation, which is, interesting. It doesn't really mean one thing or another as much as the internet likes to go down one path or another path. One thing we do have to take into account here, to be completely objective, it is innocent until proven guilty. That could just be a business thing. Things don't exactly look great for one reason or another to them, so they're like, we don't really want to be associated with all of this stuff going on right now. But then, understandably, a lot of fans are like, well, surely the lawyer would show the publicist, and especially given what a publicist does with regards to they maintain the image of their clients in the best possible way, or, the management, surely if they saw this evidence that they have that they believe 100% exonerates Jonathan Majors, would they not have been shown this proof so this decision to drop him wouldn't have been made? I don't know. Like, we really don't know. But Variety have come out with this article on top of all of those developments saying Jonathan Majors' issues worsen as more alleged abuse victims cooperate with DA's office. So they say right from the top, as Jonathan Majors prepares for a May 8th court appearance on domestic violence charges, his PR problems are about to get bigger. And that's one thing to bear in mind as well. The May 8th court appearance should yield some clarity, and until then, we can't really know anything one way or another, despite, again, I've seen many tweets from many people, many opinions. No matter how much your mind may be made up about this, for all we know, the thing that the lawyer's flexing could make everything make a lot more sense. We just don't know. Or, of course, the opposite, and it might not do everything that they're hoping it will do for Jonathan Majors. They go on to say, sources familiar with the matter tell Variety that multiple alleged abuse victims of Majors have come forward following his March arrest and are cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The prospect of more women waiting in the wings would mark a dramatic turn in the case and comes on the heels of Majors' publicist and management firm cutting ties with the embattled actor earlier this week. The DA declined to comment, obviously. But once again, we have Jonathan Majors' attorney say this in a statement with regards to this update. Jonathan Majors is innocent and has not abused anyone. We have provided irrefutable evidence to the district attorney that the charges are false. We are confident that he will be fully exonerated. So everyone for the past few weeks has been like, so why hasn't this evidence been reviewed? Like they said they have it, so has it been turned in? Why haven't we heard anything? Well, now we're hearing that it definitely has been turned into the DA's office. So currently they're going over it and making something out of that. And it could provide for good or for bad, or like it's just that doesn't actually help out as much as they are saying it will. Now, when you go further down this Variety article, they also add, and it's a very small addition, Disney has the added wrinkle in that the alleged victim in the Manhattan incident also worked on this year's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. A Disney spokesperson declined to comment, obviously. And this makes it interesting as well because we don't really know if this is true, but it could infer, obviously, that the way Jonathan Majors met this woman was on the set of Quantumania, but we don't know in what capacity that she worked on the film. But it's also just interesting because this could be why Disney are being very hush-hush on it anyway for obvious PR reasons. They're not going to say one thing or another just yet, especially when we don't really know what's going on. Apparently, there haven't been any talks about what's going on, but I don't believe that for 1 second. Internally, there would have been like, okay, what are we going to do? Now, they might have been like, okay, we can't really do much right now. We're just going to have to kind of nervously wait to see what happens on May 8th and from there on out. But there's no way they haven't had discussions about it. But at this point, I just leave this off to you. What do you guys think of this? Especially with the latest update, with how, apparently multiple women are reportedly coming forward with the criminal investigation, saying that they're alleged abuse victims as well, and they're cooperating with the DA's office. That could ripple out into something, as Variety says here, Jonathan Majors' PR problems getting a lot bigger. So for the last part of this video, I just wanted to chuck this in here because whether it's true or not with regards to the Batman 2, it is something that when you evaluate it, no matter what, with production starting in November, this stuff is probably happening simultaneously, whether this has happened or not. But let's get into what the tweet says. So the Art of the Batman say, Matt Reeves has supposedly finished writing the script for The Batman Part 2 and is considering who to add to the cast. Now, this is via Batman on Film. Now, I'm not really so familiar with them. I know they dropped the kind of clues and rumors about Clayface a long time ago with regards to the Penguin series. And then, subsequently, over the next year or so after that, we heard more about Clayface. Not necessarily with regards to the Penguin, but as you guys know, apparently it could be linked with the Batman Part 2 or in a spin-off movie. Like, who knows? We still don't have any confirmation on the Clayface stuff. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because whether Matt Reeves has supposedly finished the script or not, we are still in April. The film will be entering production by November, so one could easily argue that he's still finishing the script, or maybe early drafts have been finished and he's handing them in, or he's like seeing if he's all right with them before they get like fully greenlit, because once you hand that in, that's when you get properly bankrolled for the production date of November. But Matt Reeves, as we've known before, usually writes roles with actors in mind. Not that he specifically guarantees himself he's going to get that actor, but I guess it really does help with the writing process. It was a similar thing for Batman with Robert Pattinson, despite other actors like Nicholas Hoult auditioning for the role. So I do think that he's probably had some actors in mind. I wouldn't be surprised if the producer Dylan Clark has maybe even had some low-key conversations with people. I mean, of course, though, if the script is actually finished and it's all done and dusted, then yeah, like he would be like going ham on who to find and cast for particular roles, like secondary characters, the main villain, whatever's going on there. We still don't have proper clarity about that right now, but this is what I said in all my prior videos. As we get closer to the summer, as we get closer to that November production date, we'll start getting all those articles again, giving us major clues, practically giving away the major antagonist of the second movie, just like how, Jonah Hill is in talks to play either the Riddler or Penguin. But he's asking for all of this money. Do you remember all of that stuff? That is when we're going to start hearing about that, and we can start making breakdown videos on not only the actors who are being eyed for the roles, but through those subsequent articles giving away that, obviously this is the second movie's villain, or could be a secondary villain. So ultimately, when evaluating this whole supposedly has finished writing the script thing, a part of me almost wants to believe it, because Matt Reeves has been writing this for quite a while with Matt and Tomlin. Plus, he's mentioned in the past as well, he has an idea already of where he wants this story to go in the second and third film. And then in January, after obviously September and November, when we had those prior comments about the script, fully beginning its writing process, he said in an interview with Collider in January that we're deep in it, and my partner and I are writing. Matt and Tomlin and I are writing, and it's really exciting, and I'm really excited about what we're doing. So if he's saying he was like deep in it in January, like already quite deep into the script, it's now April going into May. Again, I'm a bit hard pressed to believe that it's like a polished ass product, but you never know. Like at this point, they're probably like, the outline's definitely there, maybe even mostly done, but kind of maybe in drafty, stagey-esque bits. But hey, let's start thinking about who, since we obviously have our idea for the main villain and we've already fleshed all of that out, again, kind of basically almost done, we can start thinking about which actors we want in the role. It's all basically coming together. I don't think it's like properly done, even though it arguably could be, because again, they've been working on this for months and months now. But given that November isn't getting any further away, this is, as I said, where we start getting those Jonah Hill articles in the next few months, and we're going to have a much better clue on the Batman Part 2. But I think that ends off today's blabbery news roundup video. If you enjoyed it, would really appreciate a like. Do subscribe for more rambling news roundups just like this. Once again, I'm going to be reading every single one of your comments. I love hearing your takes, your perspectives, whether they're like expanding on mine or you have something of a take that I just didn't even consider. Definitely leave them. I can't wait to read them. But until next time, guys, honestly, just thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.